All right, so kind of a follow-up to the Marvel versus DC video I did about Ed Boon doing a poll asking fans of his, well, fans of Mortal Kombat, obviously that follow him, but his followers, what they'd like to see next from them studios, and they picked Mortal Kombat, or they picked Marvel versus DC, sorry, not Mortal Kombat versus DC, although who would want to see a part 2 of that? But they picked Marvel versus DC, that's the next game they want to see from other studios. And to kind of follow up with that, comic book writer Gail Simone posted Twitter polls of her own, involving Marvel vs. DC, asking questions about specific characters pitted against specific characters from the Marvel and DC universes, and who they think would win if they were fighting today. So let's break down those polls, give my thoughts, and hopefully get your thoughts on the comments down below. To kind of structure this down, I'm going to go through all of the polls that she did. I'm going to give my thoughts based on the characters pitted, and then give the final results of what her followers picked. So first up, the Marvel vs. DC fights take place today. Who would win between Superman versus the Hulk? That's the first one that is up. So I think that while the Hulk is very strong and because of his gamma radiation, he can take punches and keep on going, I think that basically Superman has a never-ending, I mean, it doesn't take much. He might get exerted after a couple hits, but he will keep on coming back, and it will take a lot to take him down. So in that pairing, I think it's going to be Superman. So when looking at the poll results, they agree with what I'm saying. 77.1% pick Superman and 22.9% pick the Hulk. Moving on to the next one, we have who would win between Batman and Captain America. Now this is interesting because I was just with some friends after church at lunch, and we were talking about Batman versus Superman. And while Superman would generally have the upper hand because Batman has money and he's smart, and is good with tinkering and equipment and stuff like that, is more of the mercenary stuff. I think that Batman might have the upper hand. I think Captain America, while he has the strength, he has the shields, and he has the drive to not give up, I think Batman could ultimately outsmart him and find his weaknesses. So I would pick Batman in that sense. So going on to what the fans would pick, 53.3% picked Batman and 46.7% picked Captain America. So almost even. Next up, we have who would win between Wonder Woman and Storm. Well, that's not really I mean, it's good that we're pitting characters that are not directly related to each other, but I don't think that's kind of a fair fight. But if we went with it, I would say Wonder Woman. I love Storm. Storm's one of my favorite Marvel characters, but I think that Wonder Woman would do it. I think while Storm would definitely make it difficult for Wonder Woman with her weather capabilities, I think because of Wonder Woman's strength and just her Amazonian, fight, I just don't think that Storm would stand a chance after a while. She would overpower her. So I go with Wonder Woman. So fans said 69.6% Wonder Woman and 30.4% for Storm. So it's looking like that. Okay, now this is going to be a good one. So the next one is who would win between Lobo and Wolverine? Wolverine hands down. I think that while physically maybe similar, I don't know how tall Lobo is. I mean, if we're not going off of the Hugh Jackman Wolverine and the more Marvel comic character accurate Wolverine, I think they're probably similar. But I think Wolverine would obviously win. I think he has a lot more aggression, and he just even if it was just the claws alone, I think he would be able to overpower Lobo after a while. But I would say that Lobo would put up a good fight, though. I will say that. So for Lobo, fans said 29.6%, and Wolverine is 70.4%. So hands down, that's Wolverine. Next up, let's do who would win between Superboy and Spider-Man. That's an interesting one. Now, I would generally say Superboy because I mean, he's similar to Superman, but I mean, I know he's different in some ways, but I don't know. I mean, Spider-Man takes on a lot of characters, even the ones that have strength, and he's still able to overpower them. I mean, he does it in a more smarts kind of way. He uses his resources wisely. I think I'm gonna go with Spider-Man. While it may seem so obvious that Superboy could be the winner, I'm gonna go with Spider-Man. Let's see what the fans said. Yep, they agree. 44.5% says Superboy, and then 55.5% said Spider-Man. Interesting. All right, next up we have Who would win between Catwoman and Elektra? That's an interesting pairing. Okay. Uh, Catwoman or Elektra? I think I'm gonna go with Elektra. I Catwoman. Catwoman is a good pairing. I think with Elektra. I think Elektra would win only because of her martial arts skills. I think she just would be a better fighter overall. Catwoman, I think just I don't think she's quite the fighter. I think she's able to sometimes get the upper hand on her foes because she's really agile because she's based off a cat. But I don't think as far as the straight fighting, I don't think that's going to work. So I would go with Elektra, and fans agree. So 38.6% said Catwoman, and 61.4% said Elektra. Moving on to the next one, who would win between Namor and Aquaman? This is the pairing that everybody would want to see, right? Water versus water. So I am going to pick Aquaman, and I'm based off of Jason Momoa Aquaman. If I was going against the Black Panther Namor, let's just do that. I would go with Aquaman. I think that's who I'd pick. I mean, I favor more DC than Marvel anyway, so I'm gonna go with Aquaman. They didn't agree. Oh no. Okay, so 51.7% did Namor and 48.3% did Aquaman. So I think those are kind of evenly matched, to be honest. I think that would be evenly matched. All right, this is the one that I would want, because you can see all the other way stuff right there. Who would win between Quicksilver and the Flash? The Flash. Hands down. I think Quicksilver, while he's a very good speedster, I think the Flash, aside from just being the fastest man alive, he has way more things with the Speed Force he can do. So I would say the Flash. And fans agree. 14.8% for Quicksilver, 85.2% for the Flash. Almost hands down, not even a competition. All right, next up, we've got 3 more to go. Who would win between Shazam and Thor? That's an interesting pairing. But I'm going to go with Thor. I think that Shazam can be a very powerful character, but I think that Thor, being the Thunder God, having been a Thunder God for a lot longer than, the kid who can say Shazam and become the superhero character, I think Thor would be a more formidable foe. And fans agree. So 76.8% picked Thor and 23.2% picked Shazam. All right, now this one's interesting. Who would win between Green Lantern and the Silver Surfer? That's a very interesting pairing. I guess because they're both galactic characters. I guess that's what they're going off of. I'm gonna go with Green Lantern. I mean, he has the Green Lantern core that he'd always call on if he needed help. I think his ring is very capable of. I think I'm gonna go with Green Lantern. Green Lantern on that one. But fans don't agree with me. So 36.7% said Green Lantern, 63.3% said Silver Surfer. Interesting. All right, and the last one. The Marvel vs. DC fight that would take place today. Who would win between Robin and Jubilee? Robin would win between that. If I'm going off of the 90s version of Jubilee, who is clearly a teenager. Yes, well, I like Jubilee, and I think that her powers could give Robin a run for his money in some cases. Robin's very tactical. He's a better fighter. He could subdue her very quickly. So, yeah, and fans agree. 59.8% picked Robin, and 40.2% picked Jubilee. So what do you think about that kind of mini Marvel versus DC, character versus character, pitting against each other? Who would win? What do you think about those polls? And let me know in the comments below if you would like to see a Marvel versus DC game soon, and what characters would you like to see in the game, and who would you like to see go against each other? And that's it for this video, guys. Enjoy that like button. For more videos like this one, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time on the Mashup.